In 1919, John Alcock and Arthur Whitten became the first people to ever transverse the Atlantic Ocean in a non-stop flight. With the help of a sextant, coffee, and a couple bottles of whiskey, they completed the journey in a harrowing 16 hours. Nowadays, a commercial flight across the ocean will take you an average of 8 hours. It took us around 100 years to cut the travel time down in half. But what if I told you that you could fly from New York City to Paris in just 4 hours instead of the regular 8? Or that you could travel from Seoul to Los Angeles in 7 hours, and not the excruciating 13 hours it takes now? Why hasn't the aviation industry seen the same development in speed and efficiency of aircraft when all other modes of transportation are making major headway in travel time reductions? The answer for this might not be a technological one as much as it would be an economic one. But there is one company that is looking to address these questions and change the way commercial flight operates. The aviation startup Boom is looking to change the landscape of air travel with the introduction of its Boom Supersonic Overture aircraft. While development in science is pushing technology to the limit, it seems that the aviation industry is taking a back seat. Since the 1960s, there has been no significant reduction in travel time, and if anything, it has actually increased. So why don't we see the Bugatti or maglev of commercial aeroplanes? At the end of the day, the biggest obstacle in doubling up on aircraft speed is air. Aeroplanes work around this using their aerodynamic structure. They will compress the air at the head of the plane, and the resulting streamline takes different routes over the fuselage when the aircraft is moving at top speed. This ensures maximum efficiency during operation. The power needed to overcome drag and air resistance is very intimidating. The power required to push an object through air increases with the cube of its velocity. So for instance, if it takes 30,000 horsepower for a plane to travel at 600 miles per hour, then it would take a whopping 240,000 horsepower to travel at 1,200 miles per hour. That is 8 times as much. So does this mean we need bigger jet engines? Well, not exactly. Blaming a lack of technological innovation in itself wouldn't be fair since the real culprit is economics. While a modern aircraft flies just below the speed of sound, trying to go faster than 580 miles per hour would mean a greater fuel economy. Going faster will result in more fuel consumption and an increase in the cost per passenger. This would cripple the commercial air travel industry, as with such high prices, almost no one except the extremely wealthy will be able to afford the trips. Boom has been looking for a way to work around this and make high-speed travel available to everyone. This isn't the first company to aim for such a lofty goal. The dream of supersonic flight had captivated scientists and engineers ever since Chuck Yeager broke the sound barrier in a 1947 test flight. Back then, innovation was fueled by the Cold War. Everyone wanted to stay on top of the fray, and a lot of capital was being invested into technology that could make supersonic flight possible. The States, Russia, France, and even the UK were in on the rat race. There was a winner, a joint venture by Britain and France to cut air travel time in half named Concorde. And for a brief period in history, we had it. From 1976 to 2003, we had a fully commercialized airliner that could travel faster than the speed of sound. The Concorde could travel from London to New York in a record 3.5 hours. And after 27 years of service and use, we just let it go. Why discontinue this marvel of engineering and design all of a sudden? What went wrong? First, let's begin with the obvious. Concorde could travel at Mach 2, which is twice the speed of sound, and with that speed, it consumed a whopping 6,800 gallons of fuel. The cost per flight could be distributed among its 120 passengers, unlike the 380 passengers of a 747. This meant that only the elite could afford to fly on this airliner. Second, going supersonic means that you will break the sound barrier, causing a sonic boom. These booms are notorious for noise disturbances and shattering small sheds and windows. This meant that all supersonic flights were to be kept over the ocean. There wasn't a New York to Los Angeles on a Concorde. And since this severely restricted where the plane could and could not go to, it was superseded by other Airbuses. Third, these noise concerns were paired with environmental concerns. The Concorde flew higher than other commercial jets, particularly in the stratosphere, where the air was thinner to reduce drag. For this reason, scientists thought that it could be more detrimental to the ozone layer than other airliners. And fourth, on July 25, 2000, The Concorde punctured a tire during takeoff and collided with a nearby hotel, killing 113 people. The plane was grounded until November 2001, and by that time, the September 11th attacks had already caused a recession in the air industry, and eventually led to Concorde's discontinuation in 2003 after nearly 18,000 hours of airtime. Boom is reinventing the dream of traveling supersonic by keeping three objectives in mind: reducing travel time, making travel costs affordable, and eliminating carbon emissions. Blake Skoll, the founder and CEO of Boom Supersonic, has a positive approach to the project and expects Overture to make its first flight in 2023. While most people still believe it is unaffordable, Skoll is trying to change people's outlook on supersonic travel. To avoid sharing the fate of Concorde, Boom will make supersonic air travel affordable with ticket prices at a meager $100 as opposed to the $14,000 that Concorde charged. He was confident in Boom's mission statement, saying, "It helps to remember that we are talking about 1960s technology. So much has changed since then." And Skoll is right. Since the 1960s, the advancements in the aviation sector have progressed to using carbon fiber as opposed to aluminum. Carbon fiber weighs 50% less than aluminum, while offering the same, if not better, strength. The design of jet engines and propulsion systems have undergone revolutionary changes to improve their longevity and efficiency. Boom's Overture will also be built in a way to support alternative carbon-neutral fuels. Boom partnered up with Prometheus Fuels to create a hydrocarbon fuel that will have zero greenhouse gas emissions. Through a process named direct air carbon capture, Prometheus takes in carbon dioxide from the air and runs it through an electrical current to produce jet fuel. And since the electricity is produced from solar energy, the entire process is clean and sustainable. Blake Skoll was excited about the partnership and the prospects of carbon-neutral fuel, saying, "Boom is committed to making supersonic travel environmentally sustainable. We want society to enjoy the benefits of faster flight for generations to come." Prometheus is doing incredible work, and we are thrilled to partner with them to accelerate the deployment of alternative aviation fuels. Boom's Overture is roughly the size of a Boeing 737, but just smaller and more compact, and will carry at most 88 passengers with a single-seat configuration. To prevent things from getting too crowded, the proposed design will facilitate single-seat on either side of the aisles without overhead storage compartments. The cabin design is meant to facilitate comfort during the brief sojourn. Speaking of brief, the travel time for transatlantic flight will boil down to just 3.5 hours, which is just about the time it would take for you to watch Titanic. The rapid pace of the Overture would mean that exclusive first-class suites and beds would no longer be necessary, and anyway, the design of the aircraft wouldn't accommodate them. Boom will have its significant Overture's flight prototype ready to fly sometime this year and hopes to move into a production factory in the US by the end of 2023. The first delivery of an Overture plane is also scheduled for 2023. While Boeing and Airbus still dominate the aircraft production market, Boom is looking to capitalize by using its efficient design and sustainable fuel as an incentive to establish itself in the market. Hopefully, we will very soon get to travel at Mach 2 ourselves. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.